So far, I'm the only one here. So, imagine, let's see, here's a ball. Let's just imagine that these parts that are flat are actually just, the sphere shape continues. Um, and on every ball, there is a median. That's the circumference of the ball, the width of the ball. And the circumference is the measurement of the median of the ball. So what if this was Earth with the measurements, scaled down or whatever? They say it's 24,900 miles or so in circumference at the equator. We're really on a sphere, just at the median. It doesn't really matter where you measure from. It's the median that's going to be the biggest circumference you can make. We're supposed to believe that Earth has a circumference of 24,900 miles roughly, which that's how they get the 24-hour day. It's like the sun, it goes in a cycle and it's back over your head 24 hours later, roughly. And so, they would assume, there's like some assumptions being made, but it's like you can sort of, visually estimate, the sun's light is the sun itself, it's traveling, over about 1,000 miles. It's traveling about 1,000 miles per hour. Like its light reaches that much space, and it's moving at that rate before it's back over your head again. So it's like they attribute that night and day, obviously, to the spin of the Earth. And the yearly cycle has to do with the orbit, and the seasons have to do with the fact that the Earth is allegedly, it's tilted, so it's not directly facing the sun as it's spinning. So when you have a ball that's spinning, and it's in reference to something and it's tilted away from it just a little bit, on its axis, like the axis, so it's wobbling, because it's tilted. So it's got this subtle wobble that's happening, because of the tilt. As it's orbiting and spinning the sun, around the sun, it's kind of hard to simulate with just like a ball in your hands, but the idea is that as it's spinning while it's in orbit, the Earth, it's tilted at to whatever the degree it is. It's like, I'm not good with the numbers right now, but you get the idea. When something's tilted and it's spinning, it's going to wobble, because if it wasn't tilted, while it's spinning like that, it would just be like, and say it was facing the sun and it wasn't tilted and it was spinning and orbiting, but it wasn't tilted, then you would be able to go to the poles, during the summertime season at the pole, and the sun would just be in one spot in the sky. The whole fucking, it would be spinning, but it would be in one spot. It wouldn't be making a circle, because the tilt is what causes the wobble, which is what causes the sun to make that circle at the pole, during the summertime. So you do get sun the whole time, it's circling, it never sets or whatever at the poles during the summer. But the fact that the sun isn't just in one spot in the sky, well, that indicates that there's not, because if we were just on a ball that's spinning and there wasn't any tilt or wobble, then the sun would just be in one spot in the sky for the whole summer at the poles. And then when it orbits, when it comes around and it's still spinning, it would be this side of the Earth that's getting the one spot in the sky of the sun just for the whole season. So it would just go like that, and then you would never have the circling sun at the poles. It would be weird. And so they attribute that, the fact that we don't, and they say that we're on a ball spinning, right, and it's tilted and it's wobbling. That's how we get the effects that we see in the sky, the seasons and all that shit. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but the thing is, it's spinning in one direction as it spins and wobbles, whatever. It's spinning, east to west or whatever. So it never changes that spin, obviously. And so, like, when the sun is setting, it's the result of the Earth itself spinning away from the sun. So the sun is being it's being occulted by the Earth, because the Earth is spinning away from it. So the sun looks like it's You know, the sun looks like it's going down below the earth, but it's, you know, below the ocean or whatever, but it's actually just you that's turning, and then you're going to turn back all the way around to the sun's in your view again. Which, you know, it's a bold claim to make, because really, I mean, we don't feel, or like we wouldn't normally, we wouldn't actually consider that as being a possibility. Really, I mean, although people would look at the sun setting into the ocean, saying it's not really setting into the ocean, but it looks like it's disappearing as it sets into the ocean. So we know it's not going in the ocean. So let's start figuring out what the hell is really going on, because the sun's in the sky somewhere else for somebody else. So it's not going into the ground or into the ocean. So what is it doing? Well, it's either just moving far enough away from us to where we can't see it anymore, you know, which is what it looks like it's doing, kind of. But it does look like it's sinking below into the horizon. So, you know, so if that's the case, then it would have to be going like underneath us somehow, and then coming back up again. But we know that the sun's always visible in the sky for anybody who's on Earth. You know, that's when the sun's over. You know, whatever, it travels, and you know, so there's never a point in time when the sun isn't visible to somebody on Earth. And so it's like it gets far enough away from us, and then it's out of our view. You know, but we know it comes back around and it's over here again the next day. So it's like while it was doing all that traveling, like everybody else that was on Earth was getting their day or whatever, and while we had our night, and then it's back there in the sky above us again. And it's like, well, if it was going underneath us, you know, then those people would have to be getting their sunshine. You know, the only way that could happen is if Earth is a ball, you know. But that then we have to reckon with the fact that, like, you know, the Earth would be in motion and curving, and all that motion. It would be orbiting and spinning and then curving, you know, like at great speeds, you know, through the space, you know, whatever. Well, while everything on Earth, like everything, like pretty much remains undisturbed from all that motion or curving or upside down or sideways, or all that stuff is just like, you know, I mean, typically when we have something that's in motion, you know, and there's several different motions occurring, you know, there's an orbit, there's a spin, there's a tilt and a wobble, and like, you know, not to mention the sun's allegedly moving through the galaxy at like some ungodly amount fast. It's like 500,000 miles per hour or something, but it's all relative or whatever. We're so small and it's so big. But my point being, like, to think that all those motions, and then the Earth is curving, there would have to be people, like in reference to me, you know, and me in reference to them, we'd be upside down. Our feet would be facing each other, you know, as we're standing on this thing. But nobody feels like they're upside down, or it's gravity works all that out for you. Your orientation is always going to be like you're standing up, no matter where you go on Earth. So right there, you have to reckon with all that kind of like all that sort of, I mean, where it's like, well, that's pretty crazy that all that motion is taking place. The Earth is curving, and we're standing upside down in reference to each other and sideways, but nobody feels it, and we don't see any evidence of this motion taking place other than what's happening in the sky. You know, you kind of have to like accept a lot, come up with a lot of excuses for as to why we don't necessarily feel or like can measure any of the motion here on Earth. We just measure it based on what we see in the sky. You know, basically, I mean, there's some other things that people have come up with as far as like what they think is proving Earth's motion, but really, in my opinion, it's not consistent. Like, I mean, I could go on for a while about that, but what I'm getting at here is, if you're watching the sky, and that's your main proof of the Earth's motion, alleged motion, which is pretty much, I think anybody will agree that that's pretty much what we have to work with as far as like, you know, like supporting the idea that Earth is a ball spinning. We have to look at the sky and say, well, look, this is what the reason we see all this stuff that we're seeing in the sky is because of this spin and this tilt and this wobble, and you know, it actually does work, you know, in a way. It does work. It makes sense on a certain level, but you do have to accept a lot of other things that you can't really like necessarily demonstrate or prove. You know, like it's just like this bold claim, like, you know, the Earth is curving, even though we don't really. It's not something we're busy witnessing, and the Earth is spinning and orbiting, even though it's not really something we can like measure with any degree of like, you know, consistent like, like, you know what I mean? It's like if the Earth was really moving, like Well, that would be something you'd want to concern yourself if you're landing a jet airplane full of passengers, but you don't have to concern yourself with the motion of the Earth when you're landing a plane. You treat it like it's flat and stationary, the way it appears. But anyways, all that aside, if we're basing our ideas that the Earth is in motion off of what we see in the sky, which is typically what we have to do when we're talking to people that believe all that, they refer to the sky, and I would too if I was them. But here's where I would run into a stumbling block if I was them trying to make that argument, which is like there's a lot of other stumbling blocks, but as far as the sky observation is concerned, imagine yourself on the median right here, at a halfway point on the ball. This is the Earth and it's spinning. It's spinning and it's orbiting. Okay, you're standing on the median right here. Okay, the halfway point. We're gonna call it the equator. The median right there. Boom. Let's just say that's the median right there. You're standing right there. Okay. Now, east to west. So the Earth is spinning like this. Boom, 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 as it's making its circuit. You're standing right here, and you have all these lights and these faraway stars that are like in the sky, and because you're spinning and rotating, underneath these stars, if you leave the shutter open on your camera, while it's facing the sky, the motion of the Earth allegedly is going to create. You're going to get, because it's moving really slow as far as like just looking at it with your naked eye. You're not going to see any trails or anything, but you leave the shutter open on your camera, you're going to be able to capture these famous star trails that people capture, like my thumbnail. When you're at the equator and you do this star trail capture, you're going to get what my thumbnail shows on my video here, which is like the star trails diverge from each other because you have two poles in the sky. There's the North Pole and there's the South Pole. Where there's it's like what is the word? Why can't I think of the word? It's like it basically just rotates. Between summer, the hot season, and cold season. There's a north and a south, and you go back and forth. That's the sun is making. We're making these. There's a pattern forming here where there's like two 24-hour suns that occur on Earth, one in the north, one in the south, based on which place has the summer. Listen to this. Okay, the sun's path throughout the sky, throughout the course of a year, can be seen when you do the analemma, which is you go out every day and you put a point in the sky where, say you go out every day at noon and you see where the sun's at, and you chart that. Every day you go out there and you put a dot where the sun's at noon. And you chart that every day. You're meticulous about it. So until you have 365 dots on your chart from where the sun was that day. And then that forms a shape, and it's the analemma, we call it. It's a figure 8. There's a loop in the north and there's a loop in the south, you can see. Now based on, it's location dependent, so it's always going to be, there's a variation of it. Like wherever you're at, like say you're in the north and you capture the analemma, you chart the analemma for the course of a year, you're going to see a small loop in the north where you're standing, and then you're going to see a bigger loop in the south where you're not standing. But let's say you're in the south and you do the analemma, the chart the analemma for the course of a year. Those 365 dots are going to form a figure 8, but the small loop is now going to be in the south where you're standing, and the big loop's going to be in the north where you're not standing. Okay, so now let's go to the equator right here, and you chart the analemma for the course of a year. It's not necessarily a figure 8 now. It's still the same shape, but it's an infinity symbol. It's equal on both sides. The equator, that's equal. You're going to see an equal size loop in both the north and the south. You're at the equator. You're going to see the sun's path for the course of the year. It forms an infinity symbol. It's equal on both sides, the north and south. So what happens in the north happens in the south. The analemma shows you that. It's perfectly. It's illustrated for you perfectly in the analemma. And when you go at the equator, you can see what we're dealing with here. We have a sky that's got two poles, that rotate back and forth. The summer while it's winter here, and then the summer while it's winter here. It goes back and forth. So at the equator, so the star trails are also like, so you imagine these two poles, right? So the sun's circling around, like say you're in the North Pole for the 24-hour sun, like how I explained earlier, because of the wobble, you're going to see the sun's like if the Earth wasn't tilted allegedly and wobbling. This is part of their model. You know, I don't. By the way, I don't believe it's true. But it's a good model nonetheless. It's quite interesting. I'm going over what I can right here with you. This is all leading up to something here. But so the wobble, like I said, you know, the tilt causes a wobble. You know, so it's not. So it's spinning, but like if it wasn't wobbling, the sun would just be in one spot in the sky at the pole during the summer. It would just stay there in one spot. It would be spinning, but it would be in one spot in the sky because it wouldn't be a wobble, which causes the sun to circle at the pole during the summer. If you're at the North Pole and you see the sun making a circle, you know, during the 24 hours period in the summer in the North Pole, you look way up beyond that during the nighttime, and you're going to see Polaris way the fuck up there. And it's making a little teeny itsy bitsy circle. You barely see it, but it's making a teeny little itty bitty circle. It's making the same circle the sun is making, but it's just way further up. It's a teeny itty bitty circle. It's in a teeny little itty bitty light too. But it's the same circle, so you get the impression that like, well, the whole fucking sky is wobbling. Or is it us? Well, the same thing happens in the south, although the you know, the pole star in the south is a little more faint. It's what is it called? Sigma Octantis. And anyways, so the point is, you're going to have these two rotations, you know, in the sky. The stars are making that circle, you know, where the sun's 24-hour sun. The sky is, you know, there's two star. What do you call it? Why am I at a loss for words? There's two star fields, all right? There's one in the north and one in the south, right? And then they meet at the equator, right here. Now, if you're in you know, the north, the stars are rotating one way, and if you're in the south, the stars are rotating the other way. So that means when you get to the equator, that's where the star trails diverge from each other, right? Like my thumbnail shows. Star trails diverging right there, okay? So this is spinning. The star trails, you know, so far the globe model actually kind of checks out as far as how all that is going to work, you know. I mean, it's a really well thought out model. But there's little problems here and there, like, well, there's a lot of problems actually, but it's quite interesting how well the model is crafted. So at the equator, you're going to see those star trails diverging like my thumbnail illustrates. And I want you to imagine if you're standing on the equator right here, and the Earth is spinning, and the stars are just, you know, static. You're the one moving, and so it's creating those trails. They're spinning in one direction, all right? You're standing on one surface, it's spinning in one direction. You're looking at the sky. The lights in the sky necessarily have to be trailing in one direction because you're spinning in one direction. So it's my opinion, there's ways we could run experiments to get more, you know, data that would probably support my conclusion, which is that you're not going to see star trails diverging in two different directions. If you're standing on one surface and spinning in one direction, looking at lights in the distance, those lights are going to trail in one direction, you know, because you're spinning in one direction. You're not going to see those lights in the sky diverging in two different directions while you're standing on one surface spinning in one direction. It's not going to happen, dude. It doesn't even make sense. That picture that's on my thumbnail, I mean, I can't imagine how anybody should look at that, you know, thinking critically and objectively and, like, try to free their mind of any, like, you know, foregone conclusions. Just think about it, like, objectively, critically. You're standing in one place and you're looking at the sky while you're spinning in one direction, allegedly, right? Would you see star trails that resemble my thumbnail? Does that seem feasible to you? Because to me, it seems absolutely impossible. I don't think that's possible to see star trails diverging in such a way. I think you would see star trails, you know, and I think you would see them all going in one direction, you know, because you're spinning in one direction. And I think it would be a little more messy, like towards the side. Like if you're looking at the sky, you know, and towards the sides of your viewfinder or whatever it is, your photograph, I believe you might see some star trails overlapping or something. It just wouldn't be as beautiful of a capture. I mean, the pictures, because the star trails that we see, they're perfect, and you can see them diverging from each other. But how would you see that if you're standing on one surface and spinning in one direction? How would you see lights diverging away from each other and they're not crossing over each other or anything? It's perfectly, it really. I know I've talked to Globers about this, people that push the globe model and adamantly against flat Earth, and they claim, oh no, that's what you would see. It's all worked out, modeled perfectly. You're tripping, whatever, and that's fine. You can say that, but but I haven't seen how I've looked too. I've looked for like an example, I don't know if there's any studies that have been done to try to demonstrate that's what we would see. And this is what I'm getting at. I think we could actually create an experiment. It wouldn't have to be that high dollar of an experiment. It wouldn't be that high budget. But imagine with me, if you will, if anybody's even listening, that what you would do, you would get like a big ball, this would be like a model of the Earth, whatever. If anybody's in there, can you tell me if you hear me? Is there a sound, or am I audible? If anybody's in there, please let me know if you can hear me or not. Because if not, I'm going to end the show and start over. Because sometimes I don't have audio. But it's really hard to get a response from my audience. I don't know why. But anyways, let's just assume that you can hear me. What we would do is you darken an entire room. There's no windows, no doors, no skylights. It's just a room with 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. It's completely dark. And you're going to get a big ball. Let's say it's like, a big ass ball, like big, like bigger than this, okay? And you're going to put it on a rotisserie or whatever, but you're not going to be cooking anything. You're just putting it on a rotisserie so you can turn it, so you can simulate the spinning Earth. Put the ball, on the rotisserie in the middle of the room, all right? And then you're going to mount a tiny little video camera on the median of the ball, on the median, like let's say the equator. Otherwise, it's like we're going to simulate the star trails from, in a laboratory setting. You mount this little camera on the median of the ball, right? And it's facing away from the ball, facing up into the sky. And now you're going to proceed to place little teeny LED lights all over the walls, all over the ceiling, all over the floor, all over the whole fucking room that was completely darkened. And the only light source that's going to be in there during this experiment is those little teeny LED lights, hundreds of them that you put all over the walls, floor, ceiling, everywhere. And space them out, evenly enough or whatever, to where they're not to where it's not too cluttered. But you're simulating. You're going to make stars. These little LED lights are going to be the stars, and they're little teeny lights, And so then what you're going to do is you're just going to open the shutter or whatever on the camera. Do what you would do otherwise, when you're making star trail video or pictures. And then you would just proceed to slowly turn the ball that the camera's on, and it's going to be capturing all those lights that are all over the place in the room as it turns. And we're going to do it, with this, all scaled to how the Earth would be moving, and at, the directionality of it, and all that. And so for the length of time it would be, because, you don't go for a whole 24 hours. That's why you can't get a full circle with the star trails. They have software that finishes the circle for you, because if you got the star trails for a full circle, that would mean 24 hours of nighttime, which is there's places on Earth where you might be able to do that. But the point is, most star trail pictures that you see where there's a complete circle, that's not how, it didn't play out like that in real life, because you can't go out there and get 24 hours of star trails, because the sun comes back up, and then you don't see the stars. But so there's software out there that finishes the circle for you. So a lot of those star trail pictures aren't even real. They're real, but they're just they've been edited, or they've finished the circle for you, is what I'm saying. Whatever. I'm not saying that debunks anything. I'm just saying that that's just how they work. So in this case, we're not even trying to make a circle, though. I don't even know why I'm mentioning that. But at the equator, we're just going to try to see if we can capture an image of this of the lights, the LED lights, which are going to simulate stars. We're going to see if we can capture an image that shows these star trails diverging in two different directions, like we see on my thumbnail here. And I'm making the hypothesis that no, we won't see that. We will not see anything that resembles that. It might resemble it a little bit, but we're not going to see star trails diverging in two different directions. We're spinning in one direction. Okay? Yeah, we're standing on a ball, but we're not standing all over the ball. We're just standing in one spot on the median. So we should just see star trails moving, in one direction. I don't think we would capture the image that you see on my thumbnail. I don't think that's possible. So it's just an idea. I thought I'd put it out there. Too bad I can't get any interaction from people. I guess I'm just too weird or something. But that's just me. In my opinion, normal people are weird. So whatever. What the fuck ever, man. I guess I'm just too much of this and not enough of that. So I'll just stop talking about it. And now I'll go directly to my poetry. The faster we rise, the flatter we get, hard pressed against the scale. I don't know what that's all about. It's about uprising Earth is what it's about. Let the blind bury the dead, and the free thinkers outnumber the creeps who play hide and seek with our rights and lefts, while the meek-minded wait patiently to inherit the flattened earth. After the grovelers have skimmed off the top and creamed the crops they did not sow, and we grimace at their grim reaping of every last red cent, rinse and repeat, rewrite their god-awful saga and steal the rolls of their righteous, who will read and weep as their sins go unaccounted for. That was a dumb poem. Let's find a better one. Oh yeah. Welcome to the fake place that you call home, where we're born and brought up and taught to believe in a phony construct from the ground up to the sky. One big interwoven lie, effectively designed with complexity that'll stifle your mind into a stupor. Fixate on any part of the picture long enough, you begin to see it ain't what it appears to be in reality. And there's a fallacy everywhere that you'd expect to see a foundation propping up the weight that the power-hungry people throw around. Turns out it's fake. It's a facade, and they've been playing God just 'cause we allow it. Pull back the curtain and see the feeble-ass phony fuck pretending to be what he clearly ain't, and in the light of day, it's all fake and gay. Everything is everything, and God holds it all in the palm of his tree. History is a rerun or oversimplified, regurgitated, blasphemous fabrication. Nothing is wasted, nothing is void of purpose. Decidedly designed. And you think the moon is a really interesting mystery. Like, people, they've always marveled at the moon as long as it's been there, because it's like this creation. It's such a grand creation. We have nothing to compare it against, and it's just beautiful, and it's just awe-inspiring beyond words. But like, the sun goes over our head every day, and we see the sun has such great purpose in this whole reality that we're taking part in. And like, the sun is clearly the epicenter of our reality. Really, it's like it provides life and growth and warmth. It's a very necessary light. It's a very necessary part of the realm we're existing in. So if you're just going to think, well, if there's a creation that we're existing within, there must be a creator who created this place, however that might entail, but it's like, the sun was created to provide us all those things I just listed, and to where now we have this other thing that's floating around up in the sky too, but it's not providing us life, heat, warmth, and it's not always even lit up, you know. And it's the moon, and the moon, in fact, provides a cold light when it is light. It absorbs the sunlight, in my opinion, and it provides a cold light, and it it causes decay and death. It speeds up the process of decay, the moonlight, and it's cold, and it doesn't. I mean, basically, the moon's purpose is not as obvious as the sun's purpose. It's almost as though it. I mean, the moon looks as though it used to serve a different purpose. I mean, it's just this old-looking, weathered-looking. It looks spent, you know. It's just like, what is that thing? To me, it appears to be like an old sun. That's what I believe it is. But I could go on for hours about that. I won't bore you with that. What's up, Heron Song? Nice to see you. At least somebody popped in to say hi. You missed my flat Earth sermon before that. Well, I was just talking about the fact that I don't think you can see the star trails that we see at the equator, the diverging trails. You can't, I don't think you would witness that on a ball. Like if you're standing on the surface of a ball that's spinning in one direction and you're looking at the sky, and the reason you're seeing star trail, you're not seeing the star trails, but if your camera is, you know, the shutter's open and you slowly film the stars, you'll get those trail patterns, you know. I don't think that if you're on the surface of a ball spinning in one direction, filming the sky, that you would get a picture that resembles my thumbnail. Because you're spinning in one direction. How are you going to see the lights trailing in two different directions? That doesn't really make sense if you think about it, if you put some thought into it. I know they're going to tell you that it's all been modeled perfectly and you're tripping, you're a stupid flat earther or whatever, but there's a way we can run experiments to try to figure out if that's even true. You know, if it's possible to see something like that on a ball spinning in one direction with the lights all placed in various different, you know, you could just put a ball in the middle of a darkened room and put little LED lights everywhere and then just leave the shutter open. Then put a camera on the median of the ball, like so, simulate that you're at the equator and then proceed to move the ball really slowly with the shutter open and then see what if you get, you know, photographs that resemble my thumbnail, which I don't think you would. I think you would just see all the lights moving in one direction. They might overlap each other on the sides, I don't know, but you wouldn't see them diverging in two different directions. That's not possible. You're spinning in one direction. How are you going to see lights trailing in two different directions? No, I don't think that makes any sense. Sorry. But everything else does. Well, whatever, dude. For us to be on a curved surface that's orbiting and spinning and tilting and wobbling and all that shit going on, where actually the sun's flying too and we're chasing up. I mean, there's other motions that aren't even accounted for in the basic, like, you know, surface level coverage of this model. But it's like there's all kinds of motion taking place, and yet we look at our surroundings and there's not one sign of it. Everything remains undisturbed here on Earth. And of course the obvious, like, a whole bit about, like, well, we're all standing upright everywhere we go on Earth, but in reality, if the Earth was a ball, like if I were to fall all the way through Earth right now, just, I know it's not possible, but if I were to, you know, and if it was a ball, you know, you'd have to believe that I'd be falling up out of the ground on the other side of the world, feet first. Hey, what's that guy doing? What the fuck? He just fell up out of the ground with his feet in the sky. What a weirdo. How'd he do that? I just fell all the way through the earth. Whoa. You know? That's pretty silly. But yeah, so gravity works all that out for us, you know? It's like, well, thanks to gravity, everybody's pulled towards the middle of Earth. You know, and so it's just going to seem like a flat, you know, plane everywhere you go. You know, it's just like you're everywhere. Everyone's on top everywhere you go. There is no top. There is no bottom. That's funny because it's like, why do you call Australia down under then if there's no top and there's no bottom? Like, why is it always down under? What's the deal with that? Like, I mean, how did that start then? If there's no top or bottom, then why do we have this down under fucking shit? Where'd that come from? Because that's certainly indicating a top and a bottom when you're going down under. Kind of like we're under the moon. You know, we only see one side of the moon. We only see that one side of the moon. You know why that is? because we're under it. We're looking at the bottom of it. Whoa, I'm solving all these great mysteries of mankind. Yeah, spinning my ass. My ass is spinning. It's funny with all this, really, because it's like the globe information is like pretty much just moot. It's like, it's irrelevant. You don't need to know it to live here. And like, at the end of the day, they all have to treat this place as though we're the place they say we're crazy for thinking that it really is. At the end of the day, they have to treat this place as though it were the place they say I'm crazy for thinking that it is. So, I don't mind having the last laugh. It's just that I'm going to be laughing alone usually. The person who gets the last laugh laughs alone, which is kind of funny. The greater good is neither good nor great. All they had was bad and a bigger hate. What they create, some people will think is their fate. So I guess for them it's way too late to try to turn back the tidal wave that is heading our way. To try to turn back the tidal wave that is heading our way. The things I say that sound insane someday will come to pass. Jesus, thing sounds like dog shit. Until that day, you can keep laughing away, but we will see who's laughing last. Although I know that he who last, last, he will be laughing alone. Although I know that he who laughs last, he will be laughing alone. I will be laughing alone. Carefully, we who see, we must plant the seed. dying. Can you hear sound? You hearing? Hearing you? I gotta plug in my dumb device. My dang old dumb device is always dead, always dying, always trying but never succeeding. I'll plug it in out yonder. I love you, baby. Thanks for preparing dinner. You're so sweet. I love you. Alright. I'm gonna go out in the darkness, in the great outdoors. Put my phone charger's out here. Come on, I know it's out there. There it is. Whoop de whoop whoop. Looks like I lost my audience. My audience just doesn't appreciate me. They're always ducking out. They're like, oh, later, dude. Your shit's so boring. We're gonna go watch. I mean, what's better than me? I mean, I can't think of any show I'd rather watch than me. Well, actually, I never watch my show. I don't know. Is it good? I can't tell. I don't ever watch it. I'm just moving forward all the time, never looking back. We're gonna put this thing here. Never looking back, a one-way ticket on a one-way track. Somehow I must be getting somewhere, but it's neither here nor there. I think that's how it goes, something like that. Runaway train, never looking back. You can kind of see me. That's gonna be good enough, right? You don't really need to see the details. I pretend like I'm talking to somebody when it says 0 on my screen. I'm talking to 0. It's become like a tradition for me. 'Cause I've been from here to 0. But I don't really believe it exists. I insist that there's no such thing as nothing. There's no such thing as nothing. But all the same, it would be logical to claim this, that 2026 years ago, we were living in the year 0. And that's the year that we were waiting on for so long, as we counted backwards in a long line of negative numbers. In the era of BC, we kept track of time in reverse. It was such a curse. We didn't know why we were doing this, but we knew that eventually we'd wind up at 0. Eventually. And then after a long, long wait, it felt really great to be living in the year 0. 0. Wow. You see, we don't know what our history really shows, as it's always being superimposed on the present. And now we can't ever learn our lessons, and we can't go back to figure out how we got here. But it's all these things that have occurred that led us to be where we are right now. And I just don't know if there ever really was a year 0. I just can't wrap my mind around this so elusive idea of nothing at all. denialism. I can't even try to begin. Try to begin. Zero, zeroing in. I feel like it's all been zeroed out. But I won't pout about this, 'cause it's too late now. We've come so far from zero. From zero. 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 From zero. Zero. Zeroing in. I feel like it's all been zeroed out. I've been from here to zero. I've been from here to zero. But I don't believe it exists. I don't believe it exists. I don't believe in nothing. Why would you believe in nothing? I believe in everything. Better than believing in nothing. Oh, I believe in everything. I believe in that. Oh, yeah, I believe in it all. I believe in it all. Just say something. I believe in it. I believe in it. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Is there anybody in there? Can you tell me if there's sound? I fucking hate my phone, dude. I'll do a stream, and I don't really ever get anybody saying anything to me, I was like, I'll listen to it later, sometimes, and just to see if I had sound, and it turns out I don't have sound, because my phone decides to, shut off, the sound. It decides to shut off, a really necessary component to my live stream, which is the audio. And I never have anybody that wants to talk to me in my chat. They're always like, oh, he's trying to talk to us. Oh. He's asking us to say if there's sound. What do we do? I think there's sound. I can't ever get any feedback. And I'll listen back to it. I'm like, there's no sound. I think I'm probably the most despised YouTuber or something. It's so weird. I can't ever drum up a conversation with people online. It's like, I'm just too weird, I guess. Or maybe everybody else is weird and I'm normal. That's what it seems like to me. I got no problem with weird people. I mean, normal people. I think normal people are weird. Are you following me? Which makes me weird. I'm just bass-ackwards. That's what I am. But the thing is, I'm straightforward. Just the rest of the world is bass-ackwards. I've just been the one who's running against the grain the whole time. Ever since I got here, it's always been the way I am. I'm bass-ackwards. I come at it from behind. You gotta watch your ass around me, man. It's a true story. You never know what's gonna happen. I claim to have no claim. I've been running against the grain my whole life. I've been running against the grain. Yep. I've been running against the grain. I've been running against the grain ever since the day I came along. Yeah, that's the song I always have sang. I've been running against the grain, and I've been running ever since I came along. And this is the song I sang. I've been running against the grain. I've been running against the grain. Yeah, I've been running against the grain ever since the day I came along. I'll be running till my dying day. I'll be running against the grain. I'll be running against the grain. Yeah, but when you run against the grain, it causes friction, and you know that friction starts to burn. And when it burns, end of the game. End of the game. Up in flames. Later, brother. You too, man. Bye. Okay, thank you, baby. I'll be running against the grain. I'll be running against the grain. Running against the grain. I've been running against the grain ever since the day I came along, and I claim the grain is running the wrong way. I'll be running against the grain. Yeah, I'll be running against the grain till my dying day. But when you run against the grain, it causes friction, and you know that friction starts to burn. And when it burns, you know what's going to happen. That's when this place here is going up in flames. At the end of the game. Up in flames. I guess I'll end my show. Nobody wants to watch it. Let's go back to doing something constructive. What do I got to do? Like, I'm going to ask God right now, what do I need to do to make people want to watch my show? I do it every day. I play my show every day, but nobody ever wants to watch me. What do I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? Send me a sign, God. What can I do? I want to play music for people. What should I do to do that? What do I need to do? Please tell me. I refuse to play today's hottest music. Today's hottest music. Booty keep bouncing, booty keep bouncing, booty bouncing everywhere. I love today's hottest music. Meet me in the club. It's going down. Meet me in the club. If I start playing music like that, people want to watch me. Oh, he's singing today's hottest music. It's so hot. It's like we pre-package this stuff and then tell you it's hot, and then you think it's hot. And then we play it until you just can't forget it. It's just under your skin. You'll never forget it again. And that's hot. It might not be good music, but you'll never forget it. And when you're in the club, you're like, yeah, baby, in the club. Booty keep bouncing, yeah. We'll cater it to your low brow, like, shallow ass fucking philosophy, and you'll be like, oh yeah, booty and boobies and in the club. Oh yeah, I'm sold. I'm down. Let's go. What do I got to do? Where do I sign up? I think by now people should start realizing, like, any celebrity, any famous person that you've been idolizing, you probably should stop, because they're all corrupted souls. You don't get put in that situation with like, you know, they don't fuck around, man. They want to have control over you. The people that put people on the world stage are like, we're not going to put you on the world stage if we don't have complete control over you. You might say or do something that's going to fuck us up, or like expose something. We can't have that. No. And so we're going to entice your shallow desires, you know, and just put ideas and thoughts in your heads and put you in situations where you're bound to crack eventually, and either that or just be scared away so we don't have to deal with you anymore. But like at the point where you're partaking in these dastardly deeds, well, now we got some dirt on you, and now your soul has been cracked, and we'll just proceed to crack your soul until you become lost and just like broken, and you'll think there's nothing good left in you, and the only option you have is to pursue this dark path that we've set you on. And you know, and now we kind of have control over you, because you might say, I don't feel like going to the sacrifice tonight. Well, no, that's too bad, because if you don't, we're gonna kill you, you know, or we're gonna yank your record deal or whatever. It'll be just some nobody washed up on the street having done a bunch of evil shit, and then we'll start exposing all the evil things you've done. So you might just want to come and continue playing along, descending further into this deep, dark pit we fucking cast you into so you could be famous, you know, and like we'll dress you up, make you look all nice, and look like you wouldn't be someone that would ever do something like that. And then when the Epstein files come out and your name's all over it, good luck getting anyone to fucking buy your record anymore. I really hope that's what happens. I can't imagine people wanting like fucking, you know, look the other way. I mean, it's one thing to be invested, like, you know, like with vaccines, you know, people are like, well, no, they're safe and effective, you know, and after you stuck yourself and your family with all this fucking thing. It's like, you don't want to look at the fact that it's not good. You don't want to have to come to terms with that after you're invested, after you injected this shit in your body. You want to think that, no, they must be good. I don't care what kind of evidence you're going to show them. They must be good because I'm already in, I'm already in, you know. It's like you're invested in it, you know, but like your body, like you're invested. But like with this shit with the celebrities, I mean, you might be invested in it in so much as you have their posters and you've always gone to their shows and you've always watched all their movies and you just idolize their personality, their persona. But at the point when you see that they're attached to all this just disturbing, just wrong, you know, they're part of this ugly machine that's been, you know, that's been operating, you know, below the surface. I mean, once you see that that's the person you were fucking looking up to or revering, putting on a pedestal, I would hope that regardless of how much you've become emotionally invested in this idolizing, which isn't a healthy thing to do in the first place, but I would hope that you would have the common sense or just the decency to realize it's time to like come to terms with things like this. These people aren't who you thought they were. They're not these great people, you know. And like it's questionable whether or not any of the stuff that they did that you thought was great was even really their idea or their doing. I mean, maybe. And there's a lot of cases where I had a hard time swallowing it when I started realizing this. I was like, man, a lot of my favorite musicians, they're on the level where it's like they have to be jumped in or whatever it is, I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time imagining like Beck Hansen being part of that, but like, I don't know. He's Hollywood, these people, dude, you don't even want to have to risk it, man. You just be careful whose like image you invite into your life. And, I mean, it's all like, you know, this idea of like idol worship, really is. I mean, the celebrities and all this elite talk of elites, it's like, well, they're just people that have just corrupted their souls. I don't know are they just, answering to Satan himself? I mean, I don't know where the root of it all is. I mean, it must be something like that. I mean, I can't imagine why anybody would carry on like that, but I mean, it's just what happens when you lose your soul, I guess. I mean, any kind of terrible outcomes. But this is why you need to watch Dr. Bass, because I'm not sold out like that. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. But I could be famous for faking that I'm famous. I'm the most famous guy. I faked that I was famous and I got famous for it. Famous for faking it. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Oh, I would be so proud of myself. Whatever, fuck me. I'm done, dude.